Welcome to Intergenderation, an Erasmus Plus project funded by the European Commission. In this chapter, we will talk about conflict management in communication and how to promote constructive communication between people with different backgrounds. In an intergenerational world of work, it is important to remember that conflicts show up frequently, but if well managed, they turn to be a positive element. If managed in a healthy way, it can be an opportunity to innovate, clarify expectations, and strengthen relationships. It becomes destructive only when it is ignored, stifled, or addressed in aggressive or passive ways. This is where assertive communication comes into play. Being assertive means expressing your opinions, needs, and feelings clearly and directly, without attacking the other person. It is a fine balance between respect for yourself and respect for others. According to the American Psychological Association, assertive communication is associated with a better working climate, greater engagement, and reduced stress levels. But how do you build this type of communication? Let's start with listening. In an intergenerational environment, actively listening to the other person, without interrupting, judging, or already thinking about the answer, is essential to avoid distorted interpretations. A team leader can, for example, facilitate moments of structured dialogue in which everyone can express their opinion with dedicated time and space. Another useful tool is the technique of first-person messages. Instead of saying, "You never meet deadlines," you can say, "I feel frustrated when I can't deliver the work on time because I didn't receive your parts." This reduces the risk of defensiveness and shifts the focus to the problem, not the person. In multicultural contexts, it is also important to recognize that not all cultures communicate in the same way. In some, direct expression of dissent is encouraged. In others, it can be seen as disrespectful. Having communicative cultural competence, as UNESCO defines it, means knowing how to adapt your messages, being sensitive to nonverbal signals, and knowing how to read the context. An increasingly adopted approach is nonviolent communication, developed by psychologist Marshall Rosenberg. This method is based on 4 steps: observation, feeling, need, and request. For example, when you interrupt my speech in a meeting, observation, I feel ignored, feeling, because I need to feel listened to, need. I would like to ask you to let me finish before speaking, request. A key element is the creation of safe spaces for discussion. Too often conflicts are ignored or avoided for fear of creating problems or compromising the working climate. But true organizational well-being comes from the possibility of expressing oneself, even in disagreement, knowing that one's opinions will be listened to with respect. Tools such as team supervisions, mediated feedback interviews, or circle meetings can offer a structured context for constructively addressing tensions and misunderstandings. Internal communication guidelines are another valuable tool. Defining clear expectations on language, tone, and interaction methods helps reduce ambiguity and misunderstandings, creating a common ground even between people of different ages, cultures, and backgrounds. Similarly, it is useful to adopt explicit conflict management policies which clarify roles, responsibilities, and methods of intervention when critical situations arise. Finally, the use of digital tools for continuous feedback, such as Culture Amp, Office Vibe, or Peakon, can help monitor the internal climate and promptly identify any signs of discomfort or misalignment in teams. These tools allow employees to anonymously express their perceptions and managers to intervene promptly and in a targeted manner before small misunderstandings turn into chronic conflicts. Ultimately, an organization that actively commits to valuing differences, that not only tolerates them but welcomes them as a resource, is an organization capable of innovating, including, and growing. Because it is precisely from the variety of perspectives, experiences, and visions of the world that the most creative solutions, the most resilient teams, and the healthiest work environments are born. That's all for this episode. With this episode, we conclude the part on inclusive communication. We hope that these tools can accompany you in building more equitable, communicative, and welcoming workplaces for everyone. Thanks for listening to our Intergeneraction podcast, and remember, if you want to keep learning about intergenerational and gender diversity and inclusion, visit our official website intergenderaction.eu, and don't forget to follow us on our social media. See you next time. Funded by the European Union. Views and opinions expressed are, however, those of the authors only and do not necessarily reflect those of the European Union or agents, Erasmus plus France, Education Formation. Neither the European Union nor the Grading Authority can be held responsible for them. This work is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0 International License. To view a copy of this license, visit http://creativecommons.org. Licenses by SAA 4.0. Logos are excluded from this license.